Hello and welcome. My name is Dawn Casey, here to talk about the 5 salary myths. Having worked in human resources for so many years, I wanted to share with you some inside secrets about the common misconceptions when it comes to salary. There are certainly some things to be aware of when considering salary and questions to be asked. The biggest takeaways from this video for you will be to make sure you're educated on what the right salary range for your position is. By knowing what the proper salary range is, it puts you in the driver's seat and it helps you make very educated decisions. Let's get started on those salary myths. Hello, my name is Dawn Casey with over 20 years of leading human resource departments and the recruitment function. I now help people with their career challenges, changes, and of course questions. This is the Career Rescue Coach YouTube channel. What makes this channel a little bit different is I've been helping employees navigate the career waters for over 20 years now. And I've been very successful in my own career and share my experiences and my human resource stories throughout all my videos with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. Let's get into the 5 salary myths. Now, let's talk about myths around salary. There's some basic things to know that I really want to share with you. Number 1, the first offer is not the best offer. This is absolutely true. Often employers will extend an offer within a certain salary range that they have, but it's not necessarily their best offer. Recruiters work within a range and are able to negotiate within that range. However, they can go outside of that range with approval too. The reality is that the first offer is never the best offer, and candidates should always negotiate. I don't care whether the economy is bad or not. It shows that your worth, and it shows that you have value if you're willing to negotiate. And it could be negotiating a very small difference, but nevertheless, always negotiate. And it's important to do your research. Know what the salary range is for any position before entering into a negotiation, because in that way, you always know where you stand. Number 2, big companies pay the best salaries. Big companies don't always pay better. In fact, financially strong companies tend to pay better, but just because a company is large doesn't mean it's going to pay well. The reality is that what determines if a company pays well is if they make annual adjustments for cost of living and if they give higher than average raises. When you're negotiating with a company, always ask these 2 questions. Ask whether they increase their salary bands for cost of living each year and what the average raise was for last year. And those 2 pieces of information will tell you everything you need to know. Number 3, companies know what the fair market value is. Now, when recruiters extend offers, they're required to stay within the salary bands, as I mentioned earlier. Now, this does not mean the salary bands have been updated with the most competitive cost of living or the competitive data. It just simply means they have to stay within their own bands. The reality is that not all companies update their salary bands on an annual basis. True. And not all companies make adjustments for cost of living every year. And that's true. And when you've got companies out there that think a raise between 1% and 3% is a good raise, not very good. Needless to say, raises should be higher than that on average. And then in addition, depending upon what part of the country you live in, salaries range for cities like New York, LA. The larger cities pay a lot more. The smaller cities pay less, of course. To accurately look up your pay, here's how you do it. You plug in the title of the position, followed by the city and the state and the term pay scale. So, as an example, Marketing Director, Colorado Springs, Colorado, pay scale. Number 4, education beats experience. While education is important, training and experience is often more important today. If a candidate has a degree with no experience and another candidate has a certification and applicable experience, the second candidate will almost always get the job. The reality is that a degree does not carry as much weight as it used to do and as people think it does. The goal of an employer is to hire someone that can jump in right away and add value to that role. A candidate that has some training and a lot of experience will almost always win over someone that has a degree and no experience. There are many other types of training outside of a standard degree today. There are certifications, certifying bodies, online training, course training, just to name a few. A degree does not guarantee a job anymore. Number 5, access to pay information is limited. Pay information is readily available today. There is no excuse for not knowing what the appropriate pay range is for a job today. The reality is that there's so much information that it requires selecting the most reliable data. Places like unemployment offices do have pay data online, but I have to tell you, it's really below market, so ignore it. A good example of what to do is to look up pay data with salary.com and PayScale and average the low, mid, and high salaries together to determine the average pay for low, mid, and high part of the ranges. Both of these sites offer additional information on your market, on the amount of experience someone has, and the appropriate pay for those experience levels. A lot of really good information. So it is absolutely worth looking up, and information is not limited at all. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found some of the information very helpful. If so, be sure to check out some of my other videos, such as 5 steps to negotiating a better salary or how to negotiate a raise at your current job. Okay, so we've talked about 5 top myths around salary. Much of the salary information shared in this video was what I have learned throughout all my years in human resources, and it's not common knowledge. So hopefully this will work to your benefit and you have gained some insight and become a little bit more knowledgeable about salaries. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. I'd love to talk to you and hear comments from people. Don't forget to check out the Career Rescue Coach Facebook page for great articles and questions that you might have. And be sure to check out my social media channels and come visit me in those other locations. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dawn Casey as a Career Rescue Coach. And remember, change your job, change your life. Be safe and be well.